We did Kerbra. You let me drive it in the wet on slicks, on old slicks.
Correct.
That frightened me.
Yeah.
It really did.
Yeah.
It probably frightened you sat in the pit lane
I
as
think
well.
it frightened. I probably wasn't watching. Yeah, probably sat in the lorry with my eyes shut, to be honest.
You ready?
Ready to go.
Hi viewers, old and new, and welcome to the Scuderia BlendLine YouTube channel. You join me here today at John Wood Tyres in Hereford, and we're here with Mr. Lea Wood. He's a very good friend of mine. We go back a long way, probably 10 years.
All of that, absolutely.
If not more. We've done lots of racing and bits and pieces together,
And other things,
which we probably don't need to go into. No. Basically, we've been kind of drawn together through a passion for cars and for motor racing. So we're here with one of his race cars, which we'll kind of come to in a minute. This is basically why we're here. But just to give our viewers who may not know who you are, obviously you've done touring cars a few years back for a while, but you've been racing since you were basically a kid.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, started on the karting scene locally, but quite quickly grew out of that due to height, really, and then moved on into saloon cars, starting with basically, obviously, if you want to go back, my dad's raced years, so followed my dad around for years, racing different places all over the country, and then it got time for me to race. Like I say, I grew out the karts quite quickly, but then we got into mini rod racing, which is short oval racing, and that was based at a track in Bristol, and we did that for several years. We actually won the championship, and then we got invited to do a big race meeting down in Cornwall, and we won that meeting as well, which was a big Southern Championship, which then progressed us on into oval racing again, which was hot rodding. I only did that for a short term because I actually got involved with circuit racing quite quickly, and realised that's the area I wanted to go into. So we then moved on into the Silhouette, which is basically based on what we've got sat here, but I actually had an Audi TT at the time, and we turned that into a circuit car and started racing at the likes of Castle Combe, Brands Hatch and places like that, and it carried on like that, really.
So obviously you've had quite a lot of racing cars throughout the years, and you've kind of done it the proper clubbing way. You've kind of bought a car, raced it for a couple of years, sold it, upgraded to something else. Then you came along, so you did obviously those championships for a couple of years, and then it came to like Clio Cups.
Yes.
In 2008?
Yeah, correct. So we did Clio Cup because we ran in the Silhouette Championship, as I say, with the Audi, and then we purchased a Vauxhall Tigra, which proved to be the best car we ever owned, really. We won the 2 championships in that car, and we then sold that car and decided to go big guns and have a go at the Clio Cup, which is supporting the BTCC, or was supporting the BTCC. And we decided to ask our friend Dave Longhurst, who is a oval legend in his own right, to engineer the car for us in the Clio. So we then did that for a season, and we also mixed that with a pickup truck program for my brother as well. But we obviously concentrated on the Clio. We did that for 12 months. Gave me a great sort of insight into what I need to learn about front wheel drive, because obviously I was predominantly rear wheel drive with everything I've done in my lifetime. And then we decided to sell the Clio, and we actually invested into our first touring car, which was a Honda Integra.
So that's kind of where I remember things starting to happen with your racing, and that Integra was the very last era that was the BTC era, wasn't it? Which is the last normally aspirated touring car engine.
Correct, yeah.
So you were racing that 2010, 2011, and you went well. I remember you had some really good results. There was like a 7th in the wet at Alton Park. Yeah,
that was it. Yeah, wet conditions. We looked after our tyres really well. Ultimately, that car was very good in the wet conditions anyway. It was renowned for that. But we it all came together, and we overtook lots of the big guns, and I had a great meeting, and it was fantastic. Gave us a lot of coverage, gave us a lot of boost moving forward, and all the sponsors that were helping me at the time, like Central Roofing were a big sponsor then, and they always have been. But yeah, it gave everybody a big boost, which allowed us to then move on then to our next venture. After thinking of selling the Integra, we decided to move to the Vauxhall Vectra, which was a 888 car originally, and it was only the car that I actually purchased was the spare shell, so it never really did any work. So it was a very, very good car, ex-Andrew Jordan car. So it was a very good car, and I wish we still own that to this day, but unfortunately you've got to, as you said earlier, move on to get your next project really.
100%.
Yeah, so but that was a very good car, and then we obviously had 2 successful years in that. Yeah. Ultimately winning the Jack Sears Trophy. Yeah. So I mean that era was, I remember the Integra well, and then I sort of came in with your team, and we kind of developed the team a little bit differently then, didn't we? It was kind of a slightly bigger concern. It was still a family team though, wasn't it, at the end of the day? Absolutely family team, but we were struggling with data engineers, so that's where you stepped in. Yeah. And you took that role, not only being obviously a very good friend, you stepped in on that role, which was fantastic, and we worked together really well, along with the other boys, Greg, Dale, Andy, and obviously my parents, my girlfriend, Dave and Carol, everybody that helped out, and then even the sponsors were part of our team. Yeah. Massive part of our team. The term family affair is kind of bandied around sometimes, but it genuinely was, wasn't it? Absolutely. It really was. We were a very small team, but we all worked so well, and that's how we generated our success. Yeah, indeed. It was good fun. It was a lot of fun, and so we did that, and then it was into So as you said, 2013, Jack Sears Trophy win, which was like S2000 spec car. Yes. So turbocharged engine, there was like 8 of them on the grid, so it had its own little championship within the main BTCC championship. And as you said a minute ago, won that, which was a hell of an achievement. One I'm still massively proud of now, and me too. We, as a team, that was a fantastic achievement. That helped us again move on for our next project. But the Vectra was a great car. We loved it. It worked well with the turbo engine, the Swindo engine. Just had to look after the tyres a bit, but apart from that, we soon learned what to do there. And it was a great car, great package. Yeah, well, all the development had been done by 888, like millions of euros kind of worth of. Oh yeah, huge budgets they had. Yeah, massive. Yeah. So we were lucky off the back of that, really. Which was good. Yeah. But, moving from 2013, 2014, all of those S2000 cars got kind of scrapped. So it was a new era of NGTC, new generation touring car. Yeah. With more or less all the same gearbox, suspension, slightly different engines, but power was massively curved so that everyone had roughly the same boost. Roughly. So like in a smaller track, you'd have the top 10 were essentially covered by a second, weren't they, in qualifying? Yes, normally. Or even at Snetterton, it was the top 20. Top 20, seriously competitive. Very, very competitive, And you had, it was like some good results there, and it was a tough year. You had a big smash at Rockingham, and that was tough, and that's kind of like Dave, who we mentioned earlier, and we'll come back to, was massively pivotal in rebuilding that car ready for the next meeting, which, if I remember, was Silverstone about 2 weeks later, or 3 weeks? 2 weeks later, Huge effort to get that back all together. So going back, just rolling back a few months, that car, we obviously purchased that car off Adam Morgan. That car was just a bare chassis, and that deal was pretty much organised at the Autosport show through Houseman Construction. He sort of generated that interest for us. We then pushed the green light with it, and we didn't have long at all really to get that car built, get every nut and bolt on that car to get it sorted for the first round. For Media Day, in fact. But we made it, and it was fantastic. It was a very close call, but everybody pulled together. Obviously, Dave did a huge amount of work, and we got there, and we generated the sponsorship, and we got there, and it was great. Obviously, with those NGTC cars, they were very fickle cars, very strange setup. They ultimately weren't the best, but everybody had the same, so you were sort of governed to what you could do. But to set up, they were very, very hard work. So they weren't like the Vectra, where you could engineer it. It was much more of a nasty animal, if you want to say. You couldn't really drive it the same way, so we had to change our driving style with it a bit. So that was a learning curve, obviously, that year. And as you mentioned before, we had a big accident which unfortunately took all the budget to finish the season really, to get the car repaired. But we got it repaired, we got back out at Silverstone, and we actually finished the year off quite well. So it was good, yeah. We were pleased in the end, but certainly took a lot of effort to get to that point,
Yeah, so Dave, the crew chief who we mentioned before, Dave Longhurst, you and him, the one passion you kind of share, and obviously something that goes back, is silhouettes and hot rods, and that's kind of, what we're here today with. So we'll have a little look around this one, which
absolutely.
We'll do now if you don't mind.
No problem at all.
Cool.
So we'll start, obviously, so Peugeot 205, basically started its life off as a 205 off the road. The car was then, the roof was cut off it, so literally the only thing that is original with the car, is the roof and the side pillars at the back. The rest of it is a fully tubular space frame that is obviously welded on front and rear like clips effectively. We'll take the bonnet off, we can have a quick look. Yeah, so obviously we have a tubular space frame here, which is running double front wishbone suspension. We're running a Vauxhall 2 litre 16 valve engine on carburetors. The engine's dry sumped. The dry sump tank is in the rear, which we'll show in a minute. We're on a quick rack on the front. We're on leader suspension on it, which is, good quality suspension. The engine is a full race hot rod engine, so it's probably sort of 230 brake horse, something like that. Car isn't very heavy either, so power to weight ratio is very good. Obviously this car, bear in mind, is knocking on 30 years old, so it's very retro now. There's not many of them about at all left.
This car also, excuse me for interrupting, had a little bit of history, didn't it? Was it Terry Grant owned it at
yes,
one point?
So this car Terry Grant owned, obviously known for all his stunts and Monster Energy involvement. But yeah, Terry Grant owned it and raced it on the ovals. That's obviously what it started its life off as. But we turned it into by putting fire extinguisher windows in it, wiper, into a circuit car really. And this is what I raced at Mallory Park, and had quite a bit of success again against the big boys. So yeah, so moving round. Obviously, you can have a quick look inside there. It's quite basic, 4-speed gearbox, which is a Quaife dog box in there. The actual exhaust runs down the passenger side. We run the oil lines all run through the centre of the car. If we come to the rear, we'll just whip this off if we can. So under the panelling, we've got the fuel tank. It's a bit dark in there, but we've got the fuel tank, we've got the dry sump tank, we've got the fuel pumps. We've obviously got the exhaust runs through the back here. We're running a 52-inch axle, Ford axle with a limited slip diff, which would be sort of basically out of a Capri, but that's what they all run on. But as you can see, there's nothing in there. There's anything to do with the Peugeot 205 apart from the roof. And then it's obviously got the wide arch body kit on it. And as you can see, it's quite an animal really.
Obviously the car's for sale now.
It is, yeah.
So
unfortunately.
So it's it'll be a shame to see it go, which is kind of why I wanted to come and see it one last time before it does.
Yeah.
You've had it for about sort of 8 years or so?
Yeah, I've had it for about 8 years. The car we've actually purchased the car. It was in a bit of disrepair really. Needed quite a bit of work on it. All the panels were sort of hanging pretty much. So we completely stripped it, bought a new panel kit for it. We actually put it into the Evo 2 panel kit with the wider side skirts, different things like that, different front bumper, put the splitter on it. But as I say, we bought the car, completely revamped it, and we did it for our dad for Christmas. So it was a present for him that he didn't know.
No, it was a secret, wasn't it?
It was a total secret. Yeah. It took about 10 months to do.
Yeah.
A lot of hard work, a lot of graft, but it was certainly worth it on the day when we gave it him. And it was basically a thank you for all the efforts that he's put into both myself and Greg's motorsport over the years, and what he sacrificed for us to go racing, as youngsters and whatever. So we did that. So it will be a sad day when the car goes, because obviously it's his car really.
Yeah.
But we're selling it to move on to do bigger and better things again, and that's how we try to operate. So as I say, watch his space and see what we come out with next.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I remember we went to Alton Park. I brought my Clio along, and we had a bit of fun one day. We did some it was good fun at Alton, and we did Kerbra. you let me drive it in the wet on slicks, on old slicks. And
Correct.
That frightened me.
Yeah.
It really did.
Yeah.
It probably frightened you sat in the pit lane
I think it frightened. I probably wasn't watching. Yeah, probably sat in the lorry with my eyes shut, to be honest.
But then you did a couple of actual races. You did Castle Combe a couple of times, Mallory.
Yeah. So Castle Combe was a bit of a late entry, and we took it down there hoping it would stay dry because we didn't have a wiper system on it at the time.
Yeah.
So
that's right.
That didn't work out, and it absolutely poured down. Even
the 3 bottles of Rain-X we put on it didn't do anything.
That didn't work.
No.
So it was a little bit of an Ace Ventura job with head out the window type racing. But it was great. It was a great day. It was actually televised. It was a good day. We enjoyed it. The car again obviously brought loads of interest, as it always does. And then I also raced it at Mallory Park, but we've done track days with it, as you mentioned. And it's obviously a keen toy for that sort of thing. It's on full slicks, you know, with a full limb slip diff, full gearbox. It's a proper race car, you know. So when you do go on a track day, you do have to be a bit careful, because when you're up against, you know, cars or, you know, normal road cars or whatever, you've got to be a bit careful. You perhaps approach them faster than you think. So, but yeah, we've had a lot of fun out of it, and most importantly, my dad's had a lot of fun out of it. But like I say, we're going to have some more fun with the new project. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So basically, this car sale, so it'll probably be going soon, and then we're hoping that there's something new arriving soon, which will obviously feature on the channel. So keep your eyes posted for that, and yeah, we can see what that might be.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitely. But you know, I appreciate you all watching this and having a look at this car, because it's a fantastic machine, and like I say, it's sad to see it go.
It is very rare. It is
very rare. Yeah.
Wanted to come and see it one last time and share it with you guys. So thanks for watching, and yeah, stay tuned. There's plenty more stuff like this in the pipeline. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Follow Lee at Lea Wood Racing on Instagram and Twitter and whatnot. And yeah, thanks for watching. One thing we also thought might be quite cool for you guys to watch is when lockdown restrictions allow, we'll get the 5 of our touring car team, BTCC team, together to sit down and kind of discuss 5 years of racing in touring cars, really.
Absolutely.
Fun. There's some pretty good stories there, which and some maybe we'll try and share some photos and little bits and pieces. So yeah, keep an eye for that, and obviously if you have any questions for that, then post them below here, and we'll do them at that time as well. So.
Yeah, obviously we'll get, you know, Greg was team manager really at the time, so we'll get him involved. Andy and Dale, which were the engineers on the car. Obviously yourself, data engineer, and probably me. I'll be there as well.
Probably worth a shout.
Worth a shout. Yeah. So get the 5 of us together and have a discussion about, you know, what we did and how we got there and the fun we had along the way, really. Yeah.
So if that's the sort of thing that floats your boat, tune in, subscribe, and we'll do that as soon as we're able to.